All right, today we're going to take a look at a really fascinating piece of tech called the Smog Mini, and we're working off its latest update document, V4.3. Now, this isn't just some other air purifier you'd buy at a store. Oh no, this thing is a small but really powerful little guardian, designed to clean up our city's air in some pretty revolutionary ways. So let's just get right into how this thing actually works. And that question right there, that's really the heart of it. It sounds a little bit like science fiction, doesn't it? I mean, how can the very soot and grime that's clogging up our air be transformed into something that actually helps the city grow? Well, you're going to want to stick around because the answer is genuinely brilliant.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll meet the Smog Mini itself and get the basics on its core technology. Then, we'll see how they're making it smarter and, of course, safer. After that, we'll uncover this surprising superpower it has in a system called the Eco Loop. And finally, we're going to look at the hard data that proves this whole thing actually works.
Okay, so let's jump in. At its heart, you can think of the Smog Mini as our main character today, a little device built to take on one of the biggest challenges we have in urban life, air pollution. But, how does it really do it? Well, the magic is in a technology called an electrostatic precipitator, or ESP for short. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a super-powered magnet, but for pollution. It doesn't just filter the air passively, it uses a really strong electric field to actively snatch those nasty particles right out of the air. The process itself is, well, it's brilliantly simple. First, a fan pulls in the dirty city air. Then, a high-voltage wire gives all those tiny pollution particles a little zap, giving them an electric charge. Now that they're charged, they're just irresistibly drawn to these collection plates that have the opposite charge, and they get stuck there. So what comes out the other side? Clean air. It's simple, it's effective, and it's just elegant.
But this new V4.3 update, it's not just about cleaning the air, it's about doing it smarter. This whole section is about the upgrades that make these things more efficient. And, really cool, allow these little boxes to work together as a team. So, a huge upgrade is this new power option. Before, a unit could be self-sufficient with its own little solar panel, but now it can plug into a shared 48-volt power bus. And this is a really big deal. It means a whole network of these devices can share power from a bigger central source. That makes them way more reliable, especially on cloudy days. And get this, it cuts costs by $90 to $150 per unit. The software got a lot smarter too. There's a new night saver mode that uses something called hysteresis, which is just a fancy way of saying the device doesn't just slam on and off. Instead, it gently ramps the power up and down. Now, why does that matter? This is the crucial part. It prevents those sudden energy spikes that can accidentally create ozone, which is another pollutant you definitely don't want. The whole system is also toughened up with things like current limiters to make that shared power connection really safe and robust. All this smart tech also makes the device a whole lot safer. I mean, cleaning the air is only helpful if you don't create new problems, right? So this update introduces a really sophisticated two-layered safety shield specifically designed to handle ozone. Okay, check this out. It's called the dual gate ozone policy, and it is incredibly clever. It uses two totally different kinds of sensors. First, there's a really sensitive optical sensor. If it even thinks ozone might be starting to form, it makes a small preventative power cut, just a little trim. But if the second, more robust sensor confirms that ozone levels are actually too high for more than a minute, it takes more serious action. And if that problem sticks around for 5 minutes, it triggers a full-on 2-minute fail-safe shutdown. It's just a fantastic example of layered, intelligent safety. And of course, there's physical safety. This one's simple, but it's absolutely non-negotiable. If anyone tries to open the service door, a door interlock instantly cuts all high voltage in less than a second. No compromises, period. Okay, now we get to the part that answers that big question from the beginning. This isn't just about cleaning air anymore. This is about unlocking the Smog Mini's hidden superpower by plugging it into a much bigger system. The source document just puts it perfectly with this quote. The goal is to convert unavoidable urban nitrogen streams into local fertilizer. And those streams, well, they're air pollution and another pretty surprising source of urban waste. And this is what they call the closed-end loop. And it's an absolute game changer. So step 1, the Smog Mini does its regular job, capturing nitrogen-rich particles from things like vehicle exhaust.
Step 2, a completely separate system processes nitrogen from urban wastewater. Yep, specifically urine. Step 3 is where the real magic happens. These two different waste streams are combined to create ammonium sulfate, which is a powerful, high-value fertilizer. And then that fertilizer is used to feed the city's very own green spaces. It's a perfect circular economy, creating a city that's more self-sufficient and less reliant on industrial fertilizer.
So all of this sounds incredible, right? Almost too good to be true. But how do we actually know it works? This last section is all about the data, because good science demands rigorous, totally transparent proof. And I absolutely love this kind of transparency. For example, in one test on a new part, the target, the go/no-go goal, was a 20% improvement. The actual result? 18%. And instead of trying to hide that, they just state it plainly: improvement needed. That is real data-driven development right there. And here's a metric that really put its performance into perspective. Based on their calculations, a single Smog Mini can capture around 200 grams of harmful dust for every single kilowatt hour of energy it uses. That's a real, tangible measure of its efficiency, literally turning electricity directly into cleaner air. And they measure everything. The technical term for it is MRV, monitoring, reporting, and verification. The data logs are unbelievably detailed. They're tracking power consumption, ozone levels from both of the sensors, and even the data's own timing and accuracy. This commitment to data integrity means the results aren't just impressive, they are totally verifiable. And so, we're left with this final, really powerful question. We've seen a device that cleans the air, does it safely and intelligently, and even helps turn waste into a resource. The technology is here, the data is looking really promising. So now you have to wonder, what if we actually deployed networks of these tiny guardians all across our cities? Could this be one of the keys to making our future cities truly, deeply breathable?